You see amazing buildings all around you every single day, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about what's actually holding them all up? Today, we're going to go behind the walls, peel back the layers, and explore the hidden skeletons of architecture, the superstructure.
It's a pretty mind-blowing question when you think about it. From the house you live in to the tallest skyscraper piercing the clouds, there's this powerful, completely hidden frame working tirelessly just beneath the surface.
And yeah, it really does all come down to a skeleton. Today, we're going to meet the main contenders for the job. You can think of it like a championship match for structural frames. Each one has its own special moves, its own vulnerabilities, and a very specific arena where it absolutely shines.
All right, first up in the ring, we've got the old school champ, timber. This is the renewable classic of the construction world.
So what is it? Well, the concept is pretty straightforward, but also kind of brilliant. A timber frame is essentially this intricate web of wooden studs, beams, and joists, all locked together. They team up to carry the entire weight of the building.
And I'm willing to bet this looks super familiar to you, right? It should. This is the absolute go-to for the vast majority of houses and smaller buildings. You see these skeletons popping up in new neighborhoods all the time. Why? Because it's lightweight, pretty easy to put together, and just, well, it's the standard for a reason.
But, nothing's perfect. Every hero has their kryptonite. Timber's superpowers? For sure. It's sustainable, it's light, which can save you a bunch on the foundation, and it's a pretty good natural insulator. But its weaknesses, well, it can rot or become a snack for pests if it's not treated properly, and of course, it's wood, so fire is always a real risk.
Okay, now let's move on to the heavyweights, the big guns. When you're building up, and I mean way up, you bring in the titans of the industry, steel and concrete.
A steel frame is, well, it's a skeleton made of steel, no surprise there. But here's the magic trick. Steel is ridiculously strong. It doesn't care if you're pulling on it, that's tension, or squishing it, that's compression. It handles both like a champ. And that two-way strength is exactly why it can be the backbone for these gigantic buildings.
The perks are huge. You get this insane strength without a ton of weight, which lets architects design these massive open spaces without a forest of columns getting in the way. Plus, a lot of it can be built off-site and just assembled, which makes construction way faster. The catch? Well, steel can rust if it gets wet, and it gets weak in a fire, so you absolutely have to give it a special fireproof coating.
And you can't talk about steel without talking about its partner in crime, concrete. A concrete frame is all about beams, columns, and slabs. But the secret sauce is right in the name, reinforced concrete. They actually embed steel bars, we call them rebar, right inside the wet concrete. This gives the concrete the pulling strength that it just doesn't have on its own.
So why bother? Durability. Plain and simple. Concrete is an absolute tank. Fire, crazy weather, pests, it just laughs it all off. But that toughness comes with a price. It's so heavy, so your foundations have to be massive. And pouring it on site and then waiting for it to cure, well, it's not exactly a speedy process.
But when you put them together, man, they are the power couple that literally builds our modern world. Every skyscraper, every massive bridge, every huge parking garage, you can thank this duo for making those giant, ambitious projects a reality.
Okay, on to our next contender. This one's a bit more of a specialist. If your main goal is creating a gigantic, wide-open space with no interruptions, then you call in the champion of span, the portal frame. So what makes a portal frame so special? It's all in the clever design. You have these columns connected to sloping rafters, but the key is the joints. They're engineered to be super rigid so they don't bend. That specific shape is its secret weapon. It lets the whole structure stretch across a massive distance without a single column in the middle.
And this is what you get, a huge, totally clear interior space. Ever been in a massive warehouse or an aircraft hangar or an indoor sports arena and wondered how the roof stays up with nothing in the middle? This is how. Portal frames, 0 columns to ruin the view. So the pros are super practical. You get those wide open spaces and they go up fast because the parts are all made in a factory. Pretty flexible too. The downside? If they're not engineered just right, they can sag a bit under a heavy load. And let's be real, nobody's winning any beauty contests with a portal frame. It's all about function, not fashion.
Okay, we've met our fighters. Now it's time for the main event, the frame face-off. So, how do they really stack up? You gotta understand, picking a building skeleton isn't like picking a shirt. It's a super strategic decision. It all comes down to one question. What is this building's job?
And when you lay it all out like this, it makes perfect sense, right? Building a house? Timber is your guy. It's green, it's light, it works. Need a sleek office tower with big glass walls? That's a job for steel. Building a bridge that needs to last 100 years? You need the brute strength of concrete. And if you need to store 1,000,000 boxes, portal frame? No question. See, there's no single best one. There's only the right one for the job.
And that leaves us with a pretty cool question to think about. For hundreds of years, these four have been the undisputed champions. But things are changing. We're inventing all these new composites, self-healing materials, even 3D printing entire structures. So you have to wonder, what's next? What will the skeleton of tomorrow's buildings actually look like?